I would like to invite our panelists for today. So Laura Cutaia, please, from Enea and from the Italian Circular Economy Stakeholder Platform. Zygmunt Krasiński, our dear colleague from the Polish Chamber of Commerce for High Technologies, please. Mrs. Justyna Dziewota-Jabłońska, our business development manager from Symbiona, a company well established on the market, however, still offering very, very innovative solutions globally. Besim, please, Hoxha from Investeko. Alicia, I think it's time to you to join the panel as well. Again, VEOLIA Spain. And Mr. Przemysław Ruchlicki, Deputy Director at Economic Policy Office of the National Chamber of Commerce. Okay, give applause to all our guests so that we have really a good discussion. Well, our forum is about the expectations and challenges, and the discussions on the expectations and challenges and the role of the third-party validation in avoiding greenwashing and mitigating investment risks. So I would like to start this discussion with a definition that I have found about greenwashing so that we can have a kind of a reference to it. So the definition I have found says that greenwashing is the act of making false, misleading, or exaggerated claims about an entity's environmental or sustainability record or practice, including the environmental impact of operations, products, technologies, and services. So, a question to all of you. Do you think that greenwashing is becoming a market adaptation barrier for green innovations? Let's start. Yeah, let's start. Do you think that the greenwashing is really a barrier?
Hello, good morning everyone, and thank you for inviting me to this panel. Let me present myself just few words on ECESP, which now I'm representing today. ECESP is the Italian Circular Economy Stakeholder Platform, which is a sort of, let's say, club, Italian club on circular economy, where more than 150 organizations are working together with more than about 700 experts working together for, let's say, understanding and putting in practice what circular economy in Italy means. We are doing several things. One of these things is, let's say, collecting good practice. We are asking our stakeholder to, let's say, pay the fee for being part of ECESP with sharing the good practice on circular economy. And because of the Italian Circular Economy Stakeholder Platform is a sort of mirror platform of the European one. Going back to greenwashing, I think that up to now we have several tools to avoid greenwashing, both at business-to-consumer level and as business-to-business level. And for sure, ETV is one of these tools, which is quite interesting to be used at business-to-business level. In general, third-party verification is really important in every kind of standard which is available for the environmental performance tracking, measuring, and so on, such as, for example, Ecolabel or any other possible tool. So in this regard, ETV can play a role. In my personal opinion, probably if ETV will use in the future in a very large manner, in a very wide manner, could be also useful to track a sort of benchmark of environmental performance of different technologies if several stakeholders will apply for the same technologies, for example, or for the same products. And that would be a good feedback also coming from the application of ETV standardization methodology. I think that now is that's enough from my side. Maybe in the second run I will add something more. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Laura. I think it's Zygmunt. High tech. Well, actually, how is there any link between greenwashing and high tech? Do you think that greenwashing is also something that may affect the uptake of high technologies or advanced technologies? Because I guess it's more or less the same.
Of course, you're right. First of all, thank you for inviting me. Thank you, Izabela, for this evening. Actually, our first idea was to organize the sixth ETV Forum during the Central European Technology Forum organized by the Chamber in Krakow, but unfortunately, the forum was moved into November. That's why we are here, and with the intention to continue cooperation on the standard like ETV. So first of all, the high-tech sector is dealing mainly with digital and energy transition, but all this should be taken in the framework of greening. So the standards for verification for proving the green technologies is very important for high-tech sector, which is actually very risky, or the projects undertaken are very risky. As for the greenwashing, in general, of course, it is a bad marketing practice. You know, the presenting products as environmentally responsible without actually being so is not fair and is not responsible. So I think we should join our forces and implement a good ecosystem of cooperation of stakeholders in order to remove these barriers. So we are open to continue our cooperation.
Justyna, you are the one who has to, and Besim, you are the ones who have to make this fight on the market. Because you have to prove that your technology is actually the best one and to convince the investors. But at the same time, I guess that you have to struggle with the competitors. And so the competition is, at least in my feeling, is somehow related also to the greenwashing. So do you see in your contacts that the greenwashing and the lack of proofs is really inhibiting the market adoption of new technologies? Do you see that as a problem?
Well, I do, as a matter of fact. I'm a business development director in Symbiona. We design technologies and build wastewater, water reuse, and biogas production plants. So circular economy at its best. And I see that people become wary, you know, from this greenwashing because they no longer want to hear that something is sustainable, green, circular, because it's been already everywhere. Yes, one can claim that even changing a light bulb is a circular economy tactic of a company. Yeah, that's why I see the deepest need to embed some sort of mechanism of verification of solutions that, for instance, my company provides in any financing mechanism, in programs, because it somehow proves independently the results I'm claiming to my clients my technology has. You know, but this greenwashing, yes, it is like the hindrance, maybe not like directly for the activities of my company, but in general it creates the unfavorable aura around the activities we do conduct.
Okay, thank you. Besim, you are actually a company that develops new technologies. Under LIFE projects, you have an experience with a minimum of 2 technologies that have been developed thanks to financing from the LIFE. project. Well, the new one on the plastic recycling is just underway. I guess that when you take a look at the I don't know, in the internet or in any other resources, you can see that there are very many technologies, new technologies. You can find out even some marketplaces that are dedicated to some specific sectors. You have a marketplace on water technologies. You will definitely have a marketplace on waste recycling and anything else, where you got information actually on those technologies and the performance claims. But the point is that they are not validated. Do you think that the fact that there are so many, that the offer is so much developed, but it's not confirmed or validated in any way, can also cause a problem to your technology? Would you think that any kind like a third-party validation could distinguish it on the market?
Yes, definitely. Third-party validation would give some advantage to the technology, and also in the when you're trying to commercialize the technology, then you have an advantage. So there are plenty of companies that would claim that their company and their technology is eco-friendly, environmental friendly, and so on and so forth, sustainable. And without its third-party validation, those claims could be false, could not be accurate. Therefore, the third-party validation sort of provides a platform of credibility, and it just, in other words, it proves that the technology does what it says. Thank you.
Alicia, you are actually working as a radar, so turned on 24 hours per 7 and trying to find out the right solutions. And I guess you have a very good overview of what is actually available, what is in the pipeline, but do you perceive this greenwashing approach as something that makes your life difficult as a scouting person?
We as VEOLIA, we do try not to do greenwashing of our own business. So we try to really have an impact on what we do, which means that when we look for technologies, we need to know the impact that's going to have, but in real. So it really makes this third validation makes a difference, because it would help us select the technologies that have more potential easier, because it's true that you search and you can find sometimes tens of technologies that do the same thing, that claim to do it best, and it's very hard for them to prove what they can really achieve. And one of the problems that we find is that sometimes they do have a reference, but it's with a client that doesn't want to share the data. Mm-hmm. And that makes them very hard to show numbers. But at the same time, we don't want greenwashing, so we need to see the numbers. And that's a circle that is hard to break. And I think if we would have an alternative to that testing that could standardize and show the big numbers with what they can do, it will help us choose and do this pre-selection faster. Because yes, we sometimes really have a need from our operators, and when we start scouting, we find tens of options, and it's very hard to know where they are and what they can really achieve.
Okay, Przemek, I know you are a lawyer, so that's a legal perspective on the greenwashing. Is greenwashing already somehow functioning in the legal environment? Does it have any kind of an impact?
Yes, it is. And we have a lot of 4 or 5 letters directives. So from the bottom there is CSRD, so the basic system that we have non-finance statement, which should be audited independently outside our company. Then CSDD, so due diligence. There are also tools that should protect the consumers. But there's greenwashing directive, of course, but it's more for goods and companies, not for technologies and services. So I wouldn't say there is a legal gap because the most important thing I think now it's market conscious. So my presumption is that there will be some kind of self-regulation. So first of all, the crucial role of finance sector, because every new technology needs financing. So banking sector will provide money for the companies, startups, and later buyers of the new technology need to verify the investigation. Is it green or not? There is a huge problem in it because every bank has its own rules. There are no strict regulations on that. At the same time, banks are obliged to report green investments. So it's a huge practical problem. At the same time, we have market competition. Every company watch the competitors, also clients, consumers. So there is no place for greenwashing when we are talking about new technologies, because it will be very easy to verify is it really green or not. And at the same time, the market valuation, because we are talking about all the life cycle costs. So if we commercialize our technology and it won't be green, all entities on the market will find out it very soon, because the costs of implementation and usage will be very high. So summarizing, I think there is a small place for greenwashing on the market, on the services and new technologies, but still in a few years we'll see that the self-regulation should work very good.
I see an immediate reaction from Justyna. Please go ahead.
I love disagreeing with people, if I may, obviously, so this is a little adversum. You've mentioned that users cannot greenwash an environmental technology, sort of, that because if it does not prove the results, then the whole market would know about it. Haven't you? Yes, more or less.
In middle term, yeah.
Pardon?
In middle term, yes.
In
short term, of course you can.
Yes, of course. So, from the point of view of the technology seller or provider, it is vital to eliminate that even at the very beginning, you know, because, say, I hate giving examples, but I really have to here. Okay, if you sell the installation that works as a circular economy solution, you somehow have to, I mean, I'm speaking, you know, from my point of view as a provider. I provide solutions that I claim are better, you know, benchmarkingly better than my competitors' ones. Yes, I say I get more water reused at less cost than my competitors. Yes, and I can claim it. I can prove it, but if I cannot certify it, like, you know, from giving like a third-party stamp on it, then everyone can sell such solution, because at the very selling moment, you just can't verify OPEX. What you verify is CAPEX, yeah? But if we have this tool, environmental technology verification, that not only proves that your technology is an original one, but also gives you the data, the hard data on the performance, which corresponds to, I mean, like it translates to OPEX, then it is the marketing and the selling boosting tool. Yeah, and companies need such tool immediately, you know, not in the midterm. Have you ever seen a company that had bought the installation or I don't know, production line, and then returned it after 4 years because it did not comply with the OPEX claims? It claimed it did. Okay. No, I guess you never.
Okay, so clarifying, I never said that certification based on hard data is no use. Of course, we need it. It's very helpful, especially when we are looking on life cycle costs. Yes, because this is the first point when I need to check if the investigation will be effective. I mentioned that self-regulation and free market because I was thinking more about not custom technologies, one shot for dedicated company, but more about new technologies that can be commercialized wider for multiple companies. So yes, if we are talking about high-end, very expensive or high efficient new line or something like that, certification is must-have. The question is which certification. Like ETV is a great tool for industry, for sure. For smaller stakeholders, they sometimes make it internal or based just on the data from the seller. But still, for a custom investigation or bigger one, ETV is a great system, for sure.
I would also say that even for tailored-made solution, it may work.
Well,
yeah,
I need,
well,
I need to,
so many good words. I know,
Yeah,
but this is how I find it.
Okay, so but I need just to intervene in this moment with very two short important things. You said, Przemek, that you look at the life cycle costing. Actually, ETV is not focusing on this broad environmental performance. Of course, the scheme itself delivers the benefit in that sense that before we even start verifying a technology, we must determine if this is an environmental technology. And I will put a full stop here because I will be making a decoding of ETV, explaining how that works. Nevertheless, I think that for technologies, it is quite important. Technologies understood as process, product, services, but with industrial applications. We are not talking about consumption products because these are quite well covered. As you, Przemek, said, there is a number of regulations and the Commission has covered that aspect with the Green Claims Directive very, very well and ensured also that the clients are getting information. The question is about technologies, if this is actually somehow, well covered. So maybe with this intervention, I'll probably start the second round of the questions. So my question would be actually if I will start with Besim and Justyna, and maybe with Besim even now. When you talk to potential clients of the new technology you're working on right now on the plastic recycling, of course you need to have those stakeholder meetings or whatever, because you need to start advertising it early enough in order to ensure the transfer and replication. Does anybody ask you about third-party verified performance? A straightforward question. Does anybody ask you?
I think from their perspective, the most important is to receive a technology that is affordable. It is, let's say, solid and reliable, and it complies with the EU regulations and national regulations. So we've been fortunate enough while developing these technologies that because we have developed them in the framework of projects that have been co-financed by European Commission and Polish National Fund for Environmental Protection and Water Management, and as such, the European Commission itself gives you a clear structure of how you have to go about while you developing these technologies, and the first thing that you should do is just identify what is the environmental problem, and then find a solution to that, and also you have to identify or determine who is your buyer, who is your potential customer. And in the project that we are developing, the technology that we are currently developing, which is a technology for the recycling of hard plastics, like mainly PP, polypropylene, polyethylene, and polystyrene. So the first thing that we had to do was consult with, let's say, waste management municipality, this municipality management of waste management. I mixed it up. The operators and plastic recyclers and converters, and to see what are their needs and how can they implement the new technology. and whether those products that come out of this technology are sellable. They can make profit out of it.
But did anybody ask you to prove it? And I have the same question to Justyna. Did anybody ask you how are you going to prove that this is really a credible solution? Because you are the conditions for Symbiona and the conditions for Investeko are slightly different. I mean, in that sense that you have Justyna, already a track record as a company in delivering technologies on the market. So you have managed to build the credibility of your company in that sector, right? Investeko, of course, they are delivering the technologies, but this is probably a novelty as well, although Investeko has established a reputation as well. But just a quick question, yes, no. Is anybody asking you about third-party confirmed performance?
Many times.
Many times.
Yeah, definitely, yes.
And I feel like they tend to understand as a third party academics, scholars, but I wouldn't trust them because they not always have the direct contact with the newest solutions and the newest developments. I'm sorry to say, they are maybe not the best verifying partners like
And
Besim.
that's not objective.
It is objective because
And
they are,
that-
but like a single experts, you understand?
So that is not objective.
It is not objective.
Okay.
It is not objective because they lack knowledge.
Laura, you said that you are collecting good practices from your clients who are in the platform. Can you recall, or do you see any kind like a cooperation that has been established under this platform where third-party information on the technology was any kind of requested, demanded, provided? Have there been any cases like that? Because I know that from Italy, there have been several companies, including the ones that I think it was, I'll need to ask my colleagues from Novamont. Exactly. Novamont is a large and very well-established company in the bioplastic sector. And I think that the reason why they have verified their technology is not just by coincidence because there was such a nice scheme. I think somebody demanded from them, to verify the technologies, to verify actually the biopolymers, because there was no other way to prove certain requests coming from the market.
Yes, there are several questions, short. About Novamont, they used ETV certification in order just to focus one specific point. So the capacity of this product to be degradable in water environment, in the sea. Just because there is not any other, let's say, certification scheme able to certify this specific issue, which is a very big issue over the world, but also in Italy. So this is one point. So my question, just to discuss and to complicate the point of discussion on ETV, is what the market is demanding on ETV scheme. Because ETV scheme, let's say, start from some questions from needs from the market. Probably as a first mover, first request in using ETV scheme. About our good practice in ICESP, we are collecting them from several stakeholders, and we are having an internal process of, let's say, verification in order to understand if these good practices are real, effective, replicable, and so on. So we have a sort of internal, let's say, certification process in order to be this good practice public in the website and available for any other stakeholders to be simply copied and paste to implement different circular economy solutions. But going back to the application of TV scheme, I was thinking about technology and green technology. I mean that probably ETV could be useful for technology in general, not for, let's say, environmental technology, and could be useful to understand how technologies in general are useful for the environment, are useful for get the goals that, for example, Europe put in place, such as the Green Deal, the Critical Raw Materials Act, the Zero Net Industry Act, because technologies can help in getting these goals verified. And the other point is understand which parameters are more useful to be tracked using the ETV scheme. Because coming back to the previous comment on benchmark, if we can use ETV as benchmark for different technologies, at the same time we should use the same parameters to get the verification, to get the certification. Otherwise, you cannot make a comparison between different certification applied to same kind of technologies by using different parameters. So this could be a point to be maybe developed in the future. And in order to set a minimum goal, a minimum set of parameters to be verified through ETV certification scheme, in order to, first of all, catch the most important, let's say, environmental performance issue related to this technology in terms of environmental impacts, but also technical issue, which is really important to be focused, because the technical issues, for example, is related to some European goal. For example, getting the most of critical materials from recovery of complex products or whatever. So, let's say, understanding this technology with the ETV certification scheme could be really useful, but we should understand what ask to ETV scheme. We cannot ask anything without any specific goal. We could ask something specific which is useful for the market from one point, which is also useful for the policy to understand if these technologies are going in the right direction for the European policy, and goals. So in my opinion, it would be a really useful tool. It's a really useful tool, but it should be used from the market, but also from the policy maker in the right way. Thank you.
Laura, you've actually tackled three very important things. To those of you who are following the development of ETV, you may remember that a couple of years ago, as a basis to make a decision on how to proceed with ETV, the European Commission made an evaluation report, an assessment, with an indication on what shall we do next with ETV. There was a proposal that ETV should be replaced not by environmental technologies verification, but innovative technologies verification. So the idea was to focus upfront on the green aspects of innovation. Nevertheless, there were a lot of challenges saying that, okay, maybe this is a good approach. However, at that time, I think we didn't have that much focus on the policies. Wherever we are discussing innovation right now, it is really interconnected with the green performance at the same time. It's not only that any innovation, even if you talk about innovation in the IT, you can consider that, of course, servers, all the artificial intelligence are very nice and very good. However, you need to have an equipment and infrastructure behind it. And this infrastructure is, again, connected with raw materials, it's connected with CO2 emissions, energy, and so on and so forth. So there is always this green side or this green, let's say, part of any innovation. Nevertheless, this maybe it is an idea to come back to the ETV scheme, remodeled or reopened into all innovations. But the one thing that I also wanted to highlight is the fact to distinguish, which is between certification and verification, and this refers very, very closely to the benchmarking aspect. When you talk about certification means always any kind like a compliance, which means does it fulfill certain criteria or not? And you got a list of the criteria predefined. But to a certain extent, it is kind of a limiting when you have those criteria predefined. On the other hand, when you talk about verification means proving by providing objective evidence. That is why we decided to have ETV as a verification, not a certification, although it is much easier for many stakeholders to understand that what is certification, because this difference is not that obvious. But the idea of ETV and the benchmarking was in that sense that it's a difference between a direct comparison and benchmarking. When you benchmark, you have a set of criteria, but you evaluate technologies on the performance of this criteria, not one-to-one. You can imagine a technology which is, let's say, very efficient in, recycling of something, but other two criteria that are relevant for the market is energy consumption and water consumption. So depending on the client's needs, if they need a process, but they need to reduce energy consumption by 20%, they will compare the technologies that they need against the criterion of energy consumption. If they need something to reduce their water consumption, because this is an objective that is, let's say, either in the EMAS policy or somewhere else, then they will compare the technologies that they need versus this parameter, and probably also energy consumption. So this is, for me, ETV as a tool to make those benchmarks, even if you have a kind like, because I agree with you that the cooperation with the stakeholders on predefining certain criteria that are relevant, let's say, circularity criteria, let's say, of course, that will need to be defined for certain types of products or technologies, or for water, let's say, any kind like predefined criteria that would be related for water recycling technologies specifically. That you write down that, okay, recycling fine, but efficiency of this and this, energy consumption, and so on. So if this could be agreed with the stakeholders, I think that we could create a very powerful tool, but I would say that the stakeholder engagement, the technology providers' engagements, technology users, and policymakers who would like to get a tool saying, okay, we want to know how these technologies are actually performing on those aspects, would be absolutely a universal and a very powerful tool, on condition that we have enough technologies verified in a given area, and that's where the challenge is. Because you can benchmark if you have a couple of those technologies. If you don't have them, it's hard to make those comparisons. Unless you compare it versus conventional technologies available on the market, because that's also an option. But for that, maybe a regular certification is enough.
Okay, just a few words, just to answer. Few words on criteria. I don't think that we have to have criteria for environmental technology verification, because criteria or level to be reached is something different, is a different tool. Okay, it's not needed in this case. I would like just to underline that if environmental technology verification could be useful for also understanding how different provider of the same, much or less, technology works, using the same parameters to measure their performance could be useful. Differently, so the market cannot understand how to compare different technology with this tool. This could be a point. It's not about criteria, it's just about what environmental technology verification scheme will be focused on and which one will be the results of the third-party verification, able to let the market understand which kind of technology, for example, choose. According to the environmental performance, technical performance, for me, having in mind the general policy in which these technologies are working. Okay.
Laura, I think it's really very, very important and an example to consider when presenting the, let's say, broader perspective for ETV, because many people just, what you said just now, I think it's very important to talk maybe to the decision and policymakers so that they can also see the benefit, because right now the message is that that's not a European scheme, let's not follow it, and they don't see this kind of a necessity, although because they probably don't understand how the scheme could help them in their decision-making processes, but also into the following, whether the policies are actually implemented and whether the technologies are following those policies and how efficient they are in it. I have a question now to Alicia. Alicia, do you think that if ETV could work as this kind of a benchmarking tool, if you would see that, okay, the innovations that are in your radar are actually third-party verified, do you think that it would also stimulate innovation because the ones who are already offering something would have a chance to see, okay, technologies are already performing in this and this and this and this way. If I want to get a competitive advantage on the market, I must be better.
Yeah, that's a good question. While you were speaking, I was thinking a little bit about that too. I think it will help the startups or small companies that are developing technology to know where the standard is, because you were saying before that it would be nice to have a benchmarking comparing the new technologies, but I think the first comparison needs to be with the current technology. Like, we do things this way, but that might be improved. And here you have the second layer, that it's all these innovative technologies that are trying to improve this standard process in different ways. Some are more efficient energetically, some are improving the efficiency of the process while they consume a little bit more water, but maybe that's not a problem for me. So I think it will help startups know where the standard is, and try to build their product over it. Because many times when they explain you what they do, they know what their performance is, or at least they present to us what they can achieve, which we always doubt and we never believe, which is, I guess, probably pretty normal. And when you ask them, like, what are you offering compared with your competence? And many times they don't have an answer for that. They know what they do, but they haven't had the chance to know what the others do. Probably because the others also cannot have a standard KPIs to say, I'm consuming 3 kilowatts per ton, and he's consuming 2, and this other one is consuming 5. But even though I consume a little bit more, I generate less carbon, so I'm still better. So I think having a standard will help them have this basis of, this is the state of the art, this is the new technologies, and where am I? How can I compare myself with the other ones? And I was saying when they were speaking, I was saying that they are the kind of people with who we speak every day. Like, they have new technologies, and we are the ones that are like, but how many references do you have? And how much did you improve the process? And what was the CapEx of that? And what was the OpEx? And for how many years have you been operating that? And does it really work? We are the ones doing these hard questions that are very hard to answer. And the only thing I had in mind that is negative about these standards is that sometimes I can imagine that for a startup or a small company that is developing a technology, certifying the technology can be a very big economical effort, at the beginning, when they still don't have the resources. They are spending a lot of effort in developing and having this standard. Probably you can answer that better, but when we talk with these companies, they are in a very weak equilibrium of surviving, developing, getting new fundings, keeping developing, testing, proving. And these certifications require a lot of energy and a lot of resources. And I think it needs to be easy enough for them to do it so that they can really spend the minimum amount of resources to have a valid number that can help them prove what they can do with the technology.
I absolutely agree with you, Alicia. And we have also spoken to a number of startups, and we perfectly understand that ETV is not the cheapest tool, and it also takes time because it's also the issue of time, right? You know, you said in one of your discussions that some of the technologies really, well, that's the market practice, that they cannot be just tested in 2 weeks and go on the market. Especially when we talk about investments in large infrastructure, especially when we talk about energy sector, water sector, which is highly regulated. So those who are implementing those technologies really must be sure that that would work in their environment. The ETV is actually proposing 2 options here. Option number 1 is that we can have some of the research being, or some of the tests being done for the needs to confirm of the performance already done as existing test data during a research project at the end of a demonstration project. The only thing, the challenge basically is that you really need to know what is the competitive advantage of your technology and what do you want to claim. Because you design the whole tests for that. You need to know that at the end of the project, what you are actually testing is the piece of equipment that you are going to put on the market, and it should be exactly the same. So that's the challenge. Nevertheless, ETV has this recognition aspect, which not only refers to the fact that we are operating on as Sebastian said, on a European standard, which is very well recognized and automatically recognized by the countries once becoming a European norm, and ETV is a European norm, but there is this aspect of recognizing test data. You can do the testing on condition that you do it under quality assured conditions to back up your claim, and the verification then goes based on the analysis of the test data you provide. And for the startups who are using some funding that is available, that could be an option. That's one thing. The second thing is that in the case of a startup, there's always an investor. Sometimes it's VEOLIA, sometimes it's somebody else. But the point is that, and we have discussed that in the previous ETV forum, where investors said that for us, the verification is not important from the point of view of the technology itself. For us, it is important to make this technology credible and trusted solution towards the clients to whom we are going to sell this technology. Because at the end, investors are putting the money in a technology with a purpose to make money on it. And they need to know that the goods and services and technologies they're putting on the market are sellable and are feasible to deliver what they're promising. So another option for a startup is that an investor on behalf of the startup may apply for ETV. Any comments on that, or? Zygmunt.
Yeah, I'm on the stage of learning.
Okay.
I am, yes. My background is electronics, photonics, but my feeling is that it would be very good if you could also focus on how to embed, integrate our proposition, the standard of verification of environmental technologies into the existing EU instruments, like those under Horizon Europe, for example, because we have EIC accelerator, yeah? And it is constructed, of course, with 2 options, grants and investors, yes, and everything. And it would be very good to convince the Commission in order to introduce this kind of verification into this process.
I will tell you in such a way.
Yeah.
I was trying to make those efforts And you can understand the situation when the Commission, one has the scheme, the European scheme, and one day they say, sorry, we're closed with that. So I think we could start and come back to the Commission discussing it. Nevertheless, we had meetings on the LIFEproETV with them. We had discussed it. We have, ETV is an eligible cost under LIFE. And God thanks, because there are many technologies who are benefiting from LIFE, and I guess that our project is also contributing to raise the interest of technology developers if they are considering these close-to-market projects, to have ETV considered, because, you know, somebody, if you plan a marketing strategy, and if you really want to attract Alicia to take a look, okay, what a great solution, VEOLIA would love to have it, but give me some data on it. Why not having it paid with the public funds when you are still at the very risky stage of what you are doing? The other thing is that we have spoken to the accelerator you have the whole innovation fund, right? Where they are very much looking on energy technologies with an impact. Nevertheless, I must tell you that these discussions are not easy.
Okay, so I have some proposition, because now
listen, he's saying that publicly.
Within the chamber, we are finalizing the position paper of the next framework program, FP10s. So maybe it is good also to include this, I don't know, proposition, suggestion, because as the chamber we can easily, how to say, support.
I'm definitely taking on board that advantage, and well, whoever else is involved in or has an impact on the development of the European programs, especially the Horizon one, please be also ambassador of ETV there, because it's for our own benefit. It's not only for Izabela to make her happy that the LIFEproETV project had an impact. Of course, that's really very nice. Nevertheless, I guess it would be glad to have this kind of a support from you as well. Okay, let's continue with our discussion. Zygmunt, I actually wanted to address a question to you, because we started talking about those high technologies and advanced technologies that, of course, are immediately combined with the digital and green twin, because that's very important. Do you think that these technologies, when they go on the market, are somehow more riskier than hard technologies? Like, I don't know, any treatment technologies? How do you feel? Do you think that they need any extra support?
Okay, first of all, when we are talking about the high technologies, they are mainly new, prospective, future-oriented technologies, and based on breakthrough scientific achievements. So it is some kind of definition. So in particular, we deal with the key enabling technologies, such as micro and nanotechnologies, advanced materials, industrial biotechnologies, photonics already mentioned, or advanced manufacturing technologies, and they, as you said, combined with the digital technologies. So we have artificial intelligence, high computing, we have cybersecurity, and so on. So in my opinion, the high technologies, it is the base for the green technologies somehow. Because first of all, we need new solutions, we need innovative solution, we need breakthrough solutions, yes, for the market in order to be competitive, as you said before, yeah. So that's why this connection is very close, and in my opinion, high tech has a direct impact on green tech implementation. So it is first, and high tech, new technologies, we deal always with the higher level of risk, because it is this technological risk. So we talk about green technologies of the future, of course, in general, we deal with the high technologies. We say not traditional, but as I already said, because we need a photonic sensor, we need the photonic integrated circuits, we need new nanomaterials, for example, as a substitute for critical raw materials and so on, to use in, I don't know, in the water leakage, for example, detection or something like that, yes? So it is very connected, and in general, it is the area of very, very, very high risk. So this risk management is very, very important. That's why we need in this process we need some points where we verify technological readiness levels.
Oh, technology readiness level, that's I guess that Alicia probably has a nightmare with, and this is also something that we have discovered when we were talking to the IPPC Bureau, the one that is responsible for the Industrial Emissions Directive and for the identification of the emerging techniques, where they were, when we started LIFEproETV, the Industrial Emission Directive was actually under, so the update was under development. We didn't know how that would work in the future and how the final shape of this directive will look like. Nevertheless, we started the dialogue. We even had the representative, the director, Mr. Serge Rudier from the IPPC Bureau as a stakeholder, member of our stakeholder panel. And we have identified that the identification of the emerging techniques for the needs of the update of BREFs, so emerging techniques that are guaranteeing special, or that are guaranteeing some level, a better level of performance, but getting a proof that these technologies are really sufficiently ready in terms of market readiness was extremely challenging. So we were also discussing the use of ETV to prove not only the performance, but also to be sure that the market readiness is sufficient. And inside the ETV process, there are some dedicated steps where we, in order to verify technology, we need to check if this is really market ready. So what do? We, for example, ask for maintenance procedures, maintenance servicing, standard operating procedures. Maybe even if they are not 100% formalized, but if you don't know them, you are not able to define properly, first of all, how the technology works and under which conditions, and the second, you are also not able to properly define what are the environmental impacts of it. That may result, for example, from the servicing, they may result from the standard operating procedures, and so on. So that is why ETV is not only proving the technical performance, but when we check the eligibility, we also look into the technology readiness level. And we have highlighted this approach and the scope of information needed when we develop the self-assessment tool that says upfront what we want from you in order to get a proof of the technology readiness level. So this is how it could be satisfied. I have a quick question to Przemek, because he's sitting and probably has a lot of interesting and I guess important things to tell about ETV in the context actually of some legal regulations that have appeared. Many of you definitely have heard about the EU Green Taxonomy, which we consider a very powerful tool in bringing innovations to the market. So do you think, Przemek, that, and you have already started addressing that ETV could somehow, and a third-party verified performance, could somehow help companies report in a credible way in this ESG reporting, in this on this environmental performance things? Because right now it seems to be more the issue of the financiers, because the green taxonomy is of course about financing. Nevertheless, am I right that it could help? Where do you see the role here?
Yeah, it could, because ETV is based on hard data, so we have pure data, we cannot manipulate it. The verification will give not only the manufacturer, the seller, but also the buyer information about effectiveness, about involvement of emissions, so how much we can decrease them. So we can show on the hard data all the green path that our investment when we bought this new technology change our carbon trial, and we can report it quite easily. So ETV should be a game changer. I don't know why it's not. We need to work harder because nevertheless the ESG reporting, it should be the fast track for cheaper financing, for green bonds from the finance institution, because we give them a stamp based on the hard data, objective one, that this technology works. It's really green, so it's not greenwashed, but still there is a barrier on the market and financial sector. I think they are not really sure how it should work and how to perform this tool to check if the investigation is really green and should be invested and reported by banks that way. So there is a long way, I think, before us, not only to change the thinking of the bankers, but also thinking of the bigger companies that are buying technologies, just to use this tool to have a fast track for reporting.
Well, I must say that from the discussions that we had with the banks, because we had some discussions with the bank, and I give a floor in a moment to Justyna, because she actually committed an article which was trying to build this link with ETV and ESG reporting. So just to her observations, actually what we try to do and what we have noticed is that banks are very kind of reluctant to change their practices. They prefer the business as usual, although the taxonomy is putting a pressure on them, which means that they have their rules on performing the due diligence processes. And it is what we have put as an offer on the table to the bank, saying that, okay, ETV could be your third party contractor, cooperating agent, delivery agent, whatever you call it, that would help you understand the innovation and understand the benefits. Because at the end, what bank is assessing whether they can, whether this is economically feasible, right? So that's the primary objective of a bank is to make money, right? So the second thing is that they didn't quite understand the fact that the EU Green Taxonomy is about operations. ETV is about technologies. So what we have tried to do is to make a clear explanation during our roundtable debates, saying that, okay, even if you have operations, those operations are based on processes. And those processes are actually technologies you are using, are responsible on how you perform, or to a large extent, are responsible to, on the way, how do you perform in terms of environment? And this is the link that, well, needs to be somehow explained, that we, and the third thing is that sometimes we talk about really breakthrough technologies, and the bank needs some experts, or not necessarily has the expertise, to be able to take a look at those technologies, assess them, evaluate them. So we said, okay, we are already covering that part of your work. Just take the statement and believe it, and see what kind of a value it has. It's an inspection body statement. It's not a scientific paper. So this is what we are working on right now. I guess that this is a very promising pathway. Nevertheless, well, ETV itself looks like an innovation, and we need to find an early adopter who would be the first one and say, okay, this is the way we see the value, and we will use it and we recognize it. Justyna, just a quick comments on the ESG and
there are many actually. If you say there's a new tool to be adopted, like ETV in terms of ESG, I say yes, and probably this is the way, because it actually, from the point of view of the ESG, European Union taxonomy, all these new regulations that companies will have to comply with, ETV may provide a source against the greenwashing, and it's like is like the epitome of it, yes? And in this article I committed, and thank you for your help and support when preparing it, I've managed to find the ETV aspects in all letters of ESG acronym, actually. Be it environment, be it social governance, be it economical aspects, yes? Because it is not only the tool that you use technology, but you also use technology you may use technology to answer all this verification as a tool to sort of present to the society the results of your actions. Or you may use it as a tool to explain internally the activities of your company also. Yeah. Not only sort of provide the technological solutions, so it applies to all the areas of these new regulations, and I think it is vital to understand, and it's vital to how vital it is for us to implement this technology verification into these financial schemes and standards. That's what I said at the very beginning, yes, haven't I? Yeah. Yes, and it also boils down, if I may just add last word, there is this issue I'm still dwelling on, you know, whether all the green technologies or like environmental solutions or sustainable solutions have to be economical, you know, because we're not only implementing them for us, we're implementing them for the next generations, yes?
So it's internalizing environmental costs from a long-term perspective.
Indeed. That's what you've mentioned, yes? That somehow it is costly and it's beyond the reach of small companies that may have those assets of having perfect solutions, yet lack resources to commercialize it, yeah? So it's another aspect, it's absolutely, you know, different topic. But it's important to understand that we have to support all these hues of this whole idea, the ETV and sustainable development, circular economy is, for our benefits and for our greater future.
I'm looking at our watch, which is saying we got 10 minutes of discussion. And I think that this 10 minutes is just a perfect time for you to maybe think for a moment, because I would like to hear from you, from your perspective, what is, in your opinion, the value proposition of the ICO standardized ETV scheme for technology providers, for buyers, for investors, for banking sector? You may choose only one, but think for a moment about the value proposition. What makes it, because you all said it's a perfect tool. We know that it's maybe, it needs some, well, maybe it actually needs this definition of the in a proper way, the value proposition, right? Maybe we are not explaining it in the right way. Maybe we are not communicating it in the right way. So for the end of the LIFEproETV project, getting this message and your feedback would be really, really appreciated. So, Laura.
Yes, from my point of view, one proposition could be that ETV can be used for, let's say, the third-party verification of the future, because you can use this verification scheme for, let's say, certifying, verify some performance that are not yet addressed from policies, from markets, from any other stakeholders. So you can do a step forward. Oh, we have already.
Yeah, the value. Yeah, in my opinion. It is the value for high-tech industry partners because the demand is for the green technologies of the future. That's why we appreciate very much the existence of such standard. as the ETV, and also we appreciate the work performed by the partners of the LIFEPro ETV projects. So I am very open to cooperate and to establish the working group within our chamber dealing with ETV in order to present to our members, especially high-tech industry members, how we can use the ETV for their purposes. Of course, keeping in mind that it should be in the framework of supporting the competitiveness and the national sector competitiveness. Thank you.
Zygmunt, if you were to advise to your clients, do ETV, what would you say them? Why they should do it? Because
it is very useful to have the third party professional, how to say, verification.
Okay, Justyna.
For having responsible.
Okay, fine. It is an excellent selling tool. It may help you boost up your sales. Like full stop, but provided that is applied in the favorable circumstances: legal, economical, social, environmental. Yeah. So the society should need it. Governments should need it. Governmental bodies and international bodies should support it.
Would you strengthen the value of ETV as a selling point by adding anything else to it, like extending to some other parameters like water footprint or CO2 or carbon footprint? Do you think that they would elevate somehow or lever the statements of verification because of those kind of an aggregated stuff added, even if not verified?
Mm-hmm. You say that because there was the life cycle assessment someone somehow mentioned, or like in general?
No, because these are two parameters that actually seem like strongly operating on the market: water footprint and carbon footprint. Because well, everybody talks about it. I'm not sure if they understand, but there is one figure, one number.
Fine. Listen, ETV, as we all know, it is a very flexible tool. So you can, in my opinion, and it would be beneficial for the whole mechanism to add other parameters it may verify, non-obligatory, obviously, because it does not apply to every solution that may get verified. But why not? Why not? If we're, I've mentioned context. Buzzwords are context, and they sell. They do. And what we want here, I guess, all of us, is to broaden popularity of this tool, wouldn't we? We would, yes? Yeah. So the more popular it gets, the more wanted and demanded it gets, the more present it becomes. So, yeah. Commercialize. Sorry, I'm all about money. Apologies for that. Okay.
Besim.
I would say that we believe in ETV because we even have foreseen it in our project. We have assigned a whole work package to that to ETV, and I think it provides an added value for your technology, and just because it is also aligned with established norms and standards, that's why I think it plays a crucial role in once you validate it, your technology has gone through that verification.
So this is objective versus subjective information that
Exactly.
may help your technology be earlier spotted choice by the market rather than something that just ends up from a research project without any, with in-house data only.
That's also from the perspective of investors. It's seen as a positive thing, I suppose, because of risk assessment and also the benchmarking that we already mentioned. So and also I think it provides those risk adaptation strategies and mitigation strategies. So I think it really provides a positive platform for safe investment because investors they want to make well-informed investments again.
Alice, would you build the value proposition of ETV on something that this is a tool that allows for a comprehensive risk assessment? Or is there something else?
I would say from a VEOLIA perspective, it would help us choose the most competitive technology faster. So it would reduce our risk when we decide where to go. And I always think that I have actually two clients. I have my own VEOLIA clients, which means all my colleagues that are, obviously I don't analyze all the technologies we receive because I don't have knowledge for that, but I have to sell the product internally first, and when it has been sold internally, then we sell the product to our real clients. So I think this ETV could help us do this internal sale to our own departments to prove that this technology has been validated, not by us, not by a university, but by a third party that says that they can do this and that, and they have these standardized KPIs. So that could help us internally, and that would also give us commercial arguments to go to our final client and prove we want to do this change, and probably we are going to ask for money to that client to do that investment. So we can have strong arguments to defend that position. And from the perspective of a startup or a technology developer, I think for them it would be interesting to go faster into market, because it's going to be easier for them to be selected as their technology if they can prove what they do with objective numbers and not only with an abstract that we tried here, or we have 3 clients but we cannot share data because they are private clients and they don't want to share. It's very hard to choose that technology if you don't have the information. So for me, that's like the two perspectives that ETV can help. But that, as Justyna was saying, it's very important that it's spread and more common, because if people doesn't know what it is, they are going to have a presentation with an ETV certified, and no one is going to know what that means or what that proves. And it's not only the certificate; it's only the numbers that are behind. What you said, for example, the carbon footprint or the water footprint, I think it's very important to have these kind of numbers that obviously they are very hard to calculate. There's tons of data behind to have only one single number. But I think it's very interesting to have these few numbers that can show you something.
Besides the verified performance, I think numbers.
It's very interesting.
So it will be just the extension of the goal of ETV. I will be talking about that in my presentation. Przemek, the last minute belongs to you. Value proposition for ETV in the meaning of ESG and taxonomy.
We are on the borrowed time, so.
Okay.
Okay, so fast. From investor point of view, it should be a great tool, because I, as an investor, can have general technical knowledge, can check EBITDA, can check financial history of the company. But still, ETV will give me additional proof that the technology exists. That's very important. It's not only portfolio and folder. It exists, it works, and it's effective. So if I have 2 companies to choose in which invest, I will invest in some that the technology is proven by additional external experts. So I see ETV as a great tool also for verification for investors.
Thank you very much. I think we all deserve an applause right now. That was really, I think we could spend more time on those coaches discussing, and I'm really happy that we had this very interesting insights from your perspective.